Hello, everyone. I'm Pastor George Thompson, your CSN, Christian Stewardship Network host. Today, I am so excited. We have Betsy Lonsberry and Jeff Kaler. We're going to be talking about high-capacity giving. So first, why don't we just introduce ourselves and talk about how we do it? Betsy?
Awesome. Hi. So glad to be with you. And I would just like to say I'm from Christ Fellowship Church in South Florida. We have 9 campuses. And one of the things that we have really seen over the years is that discipling people around stewardship, it really has awesome returns for them and builds their faith in so many ways. And we realized that we really needed to disciple high-capacity donors specifically because for many of them, they weren't being discipled in other ways.
Right.
And so the first thing that we needed to do was actually identify who is a high-capacity donor.
Right, that's my first question.
Yeah.
What's a high-capacity?
So for us, the way that we identify who they are is that we look on a weekly basis at who might give one-time gifts of a certain level or above. And for every church, that's going to be a different number, but we know for us what that is on a regular basis. And so we look weekly if somebody might give a one-time gift. And then we also look over time, because if I'm right under that level, but I do it consistently over time, it's going to add up. And so the first thing that we do is actually identify who are those people that we would consider might be high-capacity donors. And then once we know who they are, we make sure that our senior pastor knows who they are, as well as our campus pastors. Not necessarily sharing dollar amounts, but names and information, because we want them to build relationship with them.
Hi, I'm Carla Reese with Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship in Dallas, Texas, and you're enjoying the CSN podcast.
So that's the first thing that we do.
And then after that, what do you do after you've identified the high-capacity givers? Then what do you do?
Well, as we're trying to build relationship with them, we do that in a few different ways. One of them is individually, one-on-one, where we might have a campus pastor or a senior pastor. Somebody might have coffee with them, get to know them a little bit. We also try to get them to know each other, because that's a way that they're really going to grow in relationship, because really that's how most people grow in whatever area of their life they need to grow in their relationship with Christ. And so doing it in relationship is going to be a great way. So we will pull them together in different environments. One thing that we do is we'll pull together financial leaders at the end of a year, and those people we will say to them at the beginning of the evening, like, you're here because you were really part of helping us advance the gospel in our area this year. We immediately let them know that there's no ask. We're not asking them for any more money that night, but you're here because you made a significant difference in helping us do the vision and create the vision that God gave us.
But how is it received? Is the guard up at the beginning of the night or down?
A little bit. It's a little bit up at the very beginning. But if they've been more than once, then they realize, okay, this is just about thanking me.
Right.
This is just about, and we really want to help them identify with some of the stories they were a part of life change because of something that they did. We started this new campus, or we were able to start a new ministry or expand something, and really help them to see, connect their giving to what God was doing. And then we also try to share a little bit of vision to help inspire them, not necessarily to give more, but they can be engaged more.
Right. So then you do it initially because you want them to see, number one, you want to appreciate them, but then also what's important, you keep saying 2 words. And by the way, I went to the Christian Stewardship Network. We're here at the conference, and just watching you speak about how you engage. I like to talk about how you engage with people. You thank them, but then also how you engage with them. So how do you engage?
So one of the things we do actually at the Financial Leaders Dinner is we have tables of 8, and we'll have a campus pastor and their spouse will be hosting that table with the other couples. We help them to know a little bit about who's going to be at their table, because they may or may not know them, but we want them to know a little bit about this is the business that they have, or they have kids, or they volunteer in this area, because that will help them break the ice and have initial conversation with them. But then the next thing we want them to do is really see if they can figure out what are they passionate about, so that we can help them figure out their next step.
Right, what they're passionate about. Then I I'm always gotta give you guys the goods.
Yeah.
What's a dreamer and what's kingdom builder?
So at Christ Fellowship, all of our volunteer teams are under the umbrella of Dream Team because it really takes a team of people.
I want to be on the dream team.
You can be on the dream team. You can be on the dream team. But so all of our volunteers are part of Christ Fellowship's Dream Team. Kingdom Builder team is one of the teams, and this is made up of people that really have the gift of giving. They will say, I'm going to tithe, but I'm also going to give above the tithe consistently and sacrificially to help support what God's doing.
I'm not supposed to interrupt, but anyway, can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So they are saying, I'm going to tithe, but I'm also going to give consistently and sacrificially above the tithe. And for Kingdom Builders, they give to people, places, and partnerships.
I'm sorry, what was that?
People, places, and partnerships. They get to decide for themselves what consistently and sacrificially means. Because there may be some people who just give quarterly or once a year.
But that's how their pay cycle is, right.
That's their consistency and their level of sacrifice. We're not, having a hard conversation and trying to figure that out. Some people actually do it on every time they give a little bit above that also goes to our Kingdom Builders.
That's great.
And for us, the people, places, and partnerships are things that are beyond the normal workings with inside the walls of our church, beyond the normal operations. And so if we're expanding something and we have a relationship with Southeastern University and we brought their college onto our campus for our kids because we didn't want them all going away to school, we're like, if they want to stay and be plugged in our church, we want to have college classes right here for them. Okay. Our Kingdom Builders helped pay to be able to make that start the first year.
Right, and then people can be part of that vision and able to do that.
And they can do that. We have other partnerships that might be in the community that are more than what we budgeted for in a year, but we're like, we cannot pass up the opportunity to partner with this ministry. Kingdom Builders are going to fund that through partnerships. Okay. And then the last one, places, that's when we're maybe launching a new campus or building a new building. And so they can identify specifically with things that they want to be giving above the tithe to. And one of the things that Pastor Todd and Pastor Julie, our senior pastors, say and help the Kingdom Builders to understand is there's this amazing relationship where God gives the senior pastors at a church vision. He implants that when they pray and they seek Him, and they are given the vision of what God wants to do through that church. Amen. The Kingdom Builders are actually the ones, through their tithes and their additional giving, who are setting the pace for how fast we can implement that vision. And so the relationship between the senior pastors and the Kingdom Builders is really amazing because that helps to figure out how fast we can go and how far we can go.
I'm Pastor George Thompson, your host with the Christian Stewardship Network. Again, I want to thank Jeff Kaler and Betsy Lonsberry for coming in today and teaching us about high capacity giving. We're going to come right back and hear from Jeff.